You are Locked On Eagles Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the Eagles Locked On Postcast. Harry Mays, Jason Martinez, and as a Philadelphia sports fan, I really don't know what to feel sometimes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season and continue the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with a $150 in bonus bets. And if you win your first $5 bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. Harry, I have no idea what to feel other than thank God they won this game, because if they didn't, I think a lot of people would have been down there at NovaCare tomorrow calling for the head coach's head on a platter before we even get to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I mean, it is election week this week. We got enough going on Tuesday. Yeah. We don't need to be, calling for a firing of a coach on a Monday after a bad loss to an awful Jacksonville team. So Nakobe Dean saved Nick Sirianni's job for all intents and purposes with that interception in the corner of the end zone. Because if they'd have lost this game, this was squarely on the shoulders of Mr. 2-point conversion, Mr. Aggressive Nick Sirianni. And, they survived the game. This shouldn't have even been a football game. This Jacksonville team stinks on ice. And Doug Peterson's going to get fired. I think he's calling a realtor right now from the tunnel of Lincoln Financial Field. And he should, because his team is awful. The quarterback stinks. He's regressed. And yet they had a chance to win this game at the end on the road after going for 31 yards, 1 first down, had a total of 18 plays, 8 minutes and 34 seconds of possession, and 2 turnovers in the first half, Jason. This game was over.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley out yardage them with just his receiving yards in the first quarter.
Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even counting what he ended up doing on the ground, which was an absurd number.
I think he had 150.
Yeah, maybe even 160. Last I checked, I think it was 159. But, I mean, just an absurd game from the head coach. And I put out a tweet earlier that somebody had called for the Stu-Nod meter for Doug P. earlier when things were going as poorly as you said they were in the first half. And I said, so I posted a picture of it. And then, when they don't go for the tush push on that fourth down and they roll out, and I go, man, the Stu-Nod meter's going on. It was getting triggers from both sidelines in this game.
I know. It was like a Geiger counter going off. It was buzzing all over the place. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Devonte Smith enters the game. He had been a no-show.
Like to welcome him to the game.
and not only does he enter the game, I mean, he makes a huge play on 3rd and 6, and then the next play, a 46-yard reception for a touchdown against single high safety. And this number 5, I'd cut him right now, because the play that he made as a single high safety on that reception was awful. Yeah. I don't know what he was thinking. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many things. It's amazing how these Eagles games go, because they're so boring for like 2 or 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden the game goes haywire, and it goes haywire in both directions.
It's like the reverse NBA.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, it does. Like, the game was a snooze. And then all of a sudden, 2 touchdowns in 14 seconds, and you're going, what is going on here? We're going to get to the play call on the fumble in a moment. But I tweeted out that the Sirianni Stu-Nod meter was buzzing, and this guy he tweets me back and says he doesn't call the plays. And as I said, simply, if you don't think it was his decision on that fourth down, that was definitely his call to do that. He's not leaving that to his offensive coordinator to not run the tush push.
Yeah, I think that, not only does he maybe not call the play, but he's the guy who decides to go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. And basically what
they take points off the board earlier in the game too.
He did that earlier too. Yep. Early in the game on 4th and 3, they decided to throw the ball when it was a chip shot field goal. I don't know does he just not like kickers, or is there something with Jake Elliott that he just doesn't like? Because and then he puts him in for a 50-plus yarder at the end of the game, and he doinks it.
Yeah. Here's what I think it is, Harry. If I'm going to crawl inside his head, I think he's gotten so wrapped up in this element that if I don't go for it, my team's going to think I don't have their back.
Right. All of a sudden, I'm not Mr. Aggressive. Yeah.
He's taken every one of his poker chips and put it in on that whole theory since he got here. And sometimes you got to go, you know what? It's not about that. Right. It's about going up 3 scores or going up 2 scores. Yeah. But he just wants to be constantly aggressive, and it's burning him. And look, he got away with it today. But I mean, if they'd have lost that game, that it was squarely on. It should not have been any stress today. No. I should not have. Well, I don't have any hair, but I should not have lost any. Even I should have remained in the rocking chair the whole game. It's unbelievable.
They had a 22-0 lead, which should have been more.
Over a team that sucks.
On a team that couldn't move the football, okay? And a team that's you got a coach who's a dead man walking, a quarterback who's underachieved. They're down their best wide receiver for the rest of the season. They had nothing.
Okay? Couldn't run the ball.
Absolutely nothing.
They couldn't run the ball at all.
Yeah.
They ended up with 60 yards on the ground. Their high rusher of the game was Etienne Jr. With 24 yards on 3 carries. He's a receiver. And then Bigsby ended up with 22. I mean, it was a joke. You knew exactly what they were going to do. Lawrence throws 2 interceptions. Really, the second one's not on him because of the tip.
Right.
But I don't know. I come out of this game, I was feeling good, up 22-0. You're just kicking the living doors out of a team that you should.
Right.
You're handling it. And you go, okay, maybe they won't get the shutout. Big deal, right?
Yeah, who cares?
But now all of a sudden you see this final score, and I hate to complain about a win.
I know.
I do.
I know, but we do that a lot.
This is ridiculous.
We do that a lot here. They're just, I mean, a win in the NFL is a good win, but it just doesn't feel good. It really doesn't.
Well, Harry, the fact of the matter is they've got 6 wins in 8 games that they've played. That's the fact of the matter.
Right.
I mean, that's the record. And
now they got a Dallas team coming up with Dak Prescott, who left the game with a hamstring, and they stink anyway.
He said it on the sideline. Did you see that, Harry?
What's that?
They caught him on the sideline. They did some lip reading, and he said, we suck.
Really? Oh, I didn't see that. I
look at Crossing Broad's Twitter.
Oh, that's great.
It's pretty plain.
And then the week after, on a short week, they get the Commanders. So, these next couple of weeks, it's going to get pretty interesting here. But, man, you won the game. I get it. I'm not going to go crazy. But this coach drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
He does.
For very little upside, Harry. Very little upside.
He drives me nuts.
And look, we lauded him last week. Because I thought in the second half, the way they adjusted in that game last week, they came out in that second half and were polished, right? Mm-hmm. I thought they finally scored first quarter points in this game tonight against Jacksonville. The only reason they win the game, his players bailed him out. Sometimes the coach has to bail out the players. This time the players bailed out the coach.
Well, and Jacksonville bailed them out too. I mean, they muffed that punt in the first quarter. I mean, that set the Eagles up for an easy score. I mean, come on.
Really.
But I'll tell you.
The amazing part is too, we saw 2 of the most spectacular plays we may see all season today.
Well, the Barkley play was extraordinary.
And the Devonte Smith touchdown was ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a touchdown, to be honest with you. They kind of glossed over that. They didn't really show a lot of replays of that, but I thought his knee was down before the other foot hit. I thought the right knee might have touched the out of bounds before the left foot. That's just what I saw by watching it twice. And then all of a sudden they go to commercial and they come back. Oh yeah, it's a touchdown, and they just sort of blow it off.
Well, it was a low budget broadcast, even though they had the extra broadcaster in there today. I mean,
terrible. Tiki Barber should be fired tonight.
He stinks, Harry.
Terrible.
He is horrible.
Yeah, he's awful.
And the other thing, on the review with the Saquon Barkley fumble.
Yeah.
I mean, the ref goes over there in 2.4 seconds and comes back and goes, the call in the field stands. And you can see clear as day that he gets touched. I don't know how much it affected him, but he got touched on the ankle and the foot, and then he kind of stumbles into his lineman and goes down and then fumbles. Mm-hmm. I don't see how – I don't know. It doesn't matter, I guess, all said and done.
But that was it all comes out in the wash, as they say. But now you got a situation where they were without Slay and of course Goddard again. But now A.J. Brown gets hurt in this game with a knee, And I think Fred Johnson got hurt, the left tackle.
That was a cheap block on him.
That
guy
was
cut
a
him
low blow right there at the goal line. And I mean, there's so much that happened. The Eagles scored 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, Jason, from about the 20-yard line in, where both runners went untouched to the goal line.
Yeah.
That should never happen in the NFL.
Was that Barkley, the 34-yarder?
Barkley from about the 21.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Hurts from about the 19 or the 20. And that's where Fred Johnson got hurt right at the goal line. He went over top of him. Untouched.
Yeah.
That's how impressed were you with Jacksonville is?
With your backup left tackle getting out in the open field and leading that block for Jalen Hurts. He ran well.
He's been really good, that guy, in Malata's stead. I'll tell you, I hope he's okay. But those are some injury issues that we got to keep an eye on here for the next week or two. But hey, I thought the quarterback was pretty good tonight. He didn't turn it over.
I did too.
I thought he was good.
Yeah.
He ran the ball well.
Crap coach.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is at some point you had to figure that some team was going to be able to figure out a little way to defend this tush push.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville stuffed them how many times? Twice?
3 times.
Is it 3 times?
Because the 4th time is when they went for
That's when they bailed and they went to throw it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe they figured something out. I don't know.
Yeah. Or maybe they need to figure out to add a new wrinkle to it.
Yeah, exactly.
They seem to always want to go to that left side.
Mm-hmm.
Go right behind Lane Johnson.
Right.
Tuck in over there on the right side once in a while.
Right.
All right, let's talk about Jalen Hurts and his numbers and Saquon Barkley's numbers and one of the most unbelievable athletic plays I've ever seen in any sport, frankly. We'll talk about that and much more coming up. It is Eagles Postcast on the Locked On Network. Here's Harry to tell you about Prize Picks right after this.
Yeah, Jay, Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going to go off like Saquon did today? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks are America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. That's right, 5 million. They're the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. How many? 4. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And Prize Picks, they've invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks, they also offer weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's the code LOCKEDONNFL. On Prize Picks, $50 instantly is yours when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game.
All right, Harry, speaking of running game, let's start with the running back.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, all said and done today, these are incredible numbers.
Yeah.
27 rushes, $159. Rare that you see a 5.9 average on that many carries in a game.
Mm-hmm.
A touchdown, the long of 21, which was the touchdown. Just an unbelievable performance. All said and done, the Eagles ran for 237.
Well, in total, he had 200 yards.
Yeah.
Because he had 40 yards receiving with another touchdown.
Yeah.
So, 2 touchdowns, 200 yards of offense. Like you said, 6 yards of crack on the ground. I mean, he outside of that fumble, which, may or may not have been a fumble, but he was outstanding.
He had the one drop too in the middle of the field,
around
the 10-yard line. That was the only other thing that I kind of go, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but he was outstanding.
Yeah,
outstanding. I mean, if you think about this, they only got 2 receptions out of A.J. Brown before he got hurt for 36 yards. So either Jacksonville did a really good job against him, or Jalen just wasn't seeing him. But then the Devonte Smith 2 plays that he made, the 2 big plays, really changed the football game. It kind of really sort of brought the Eagles back in control of the game when they were losing it.
And it stretched the field for him in a big way.
Totally.
Devonte. I think that A.J. Brown got hurt on that one catch he made in the middle of the field. He got converged on by about 4 guys.
Yeah.
He was a little slow to get – it was at the 2-minute warning, if I recall, because it counted down to the 2-minute warning there. And he was a little slow to get up, but he did get up. And I was like, okay, that's good. He got up. And then he didn't go off the field a little early like Saquon did at the end of the half. But then we find out he's dealing with the knee and he was not going to come back. Hopefully they're just being – overly cautious with him. But Saquon, let's talk about the play, Harry, because he goes off left side, and first he just kind of makes a move on one guy and just makes a miss. Then he does a spin move to the outside, and then he does a reverse hurdle with the guy going under his butt.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
It was unbelievable. I mean, I had to rewind it. You know, I knew they were going to show it again, but I didn't want to wait for them to show it to me. So I rewound it and just kind of watched it again. I'm like, oh my God. It was like a backwards, like, it was almost like he was a gymnast.
Yeah,
it's like something you'd see on a floor exercise by a gymnast.
Like on that floor that shoots you up in the air, like it's got a little trampoline effect to it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It really was unbelievable. And I'm trying to figure out which player. It was number 22 for Jacksonville that he hurdled. I forget the guy's name, but he had to be there, like he's square, you know, in his sights to make a tackle.
Jones.
And then all of a sudden he spins and you see his rear end going right over the guy's helmet. I'm like,
and he landed it.
Right. He stuck the landing, as they say. And prior to that, he had broken 2 tackles in the open field.
Yeah.
No, both of those guys should have had him down. It was unbelievable. Really unbelievable.
I was watching the game in the studio by myself, and it's rare that you see a play that is so incredible. You go, like, you say something out loud when you're by yourself. I'm like, what did I just say? I go, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was sort of like the catch Wilson, I believe, made on Thursday night for the Jets.
Yep.
That one-handed, catch. It was like an Odell Beckham Jr. play. You see these plays, almost routinely, every couple of weeks in the NFL.
Kind of like the Dotson catch a little bit too, huh? That was a beauty.
How about that?
Yeah.
He was heard from. He actually made the stat sheet today.
Well, only for that one catch, Harry. Let's not get greedy here.
I know.
That was unreal, though.
It was.
Some really dynamic plays in this game. I thought it was interesting that Barkley did what he did today, too, on the day that they put Shady McCoy, in the Eagles Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy that was slippery and could make you miss, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. Everybody will remember the Snow Bowl game.
Oh, that was one of the greatest ever.
The day he had was unbelievable.
I'd like to go back and watch that game, in all honesty.
Wasn't that against the Detroit Lions?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like this perfect storm of like weather, just like right over top of Lincoln Financial Field, just dumped all this snow. It was crazy.
And it was his signature. It was his signature game in the NFL. But he was one of those guys, cut on a dime. That was his thing,
right?
And he could make you miss. And he was like kind of the throwback to the juker of like Barry Sanders. But Saquon's a little bit of a combo of like that, and he's got so much power.
Oh, he's got a little Earl Campbell in him too.
Yeah, he does.
Earl
Campbell, great back with the Houston Oilers back in the day.
Oh yeah, man.
He just truck you with that. He was a badass.
But you were right. I mean, 159 yards rushing, man. I mean, that's
he's going to be in top 3, I think, in the NFL after this week with that number.
Well,
I think he was about 5th in the NFL heading in.
Well, what's his name down in Baltimore? I think was in the lead.
I know that. Let me look and see where he was coming in. I don't know if they'll have it updated yet. The rushing lead, Derrick Henry.
That's the guy.
946. It's got
and
Saquon's number 2 at 766.
Yeah, and Henry had 106 again today with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's not going to slow down either, Harry.
No, he's not. But what a year! And I'll tell you,
unreal.
The quarterback did not turn the ball over again. What's this now? 5 straight games without an interception, I believe.
We kind of sounded the alarm after that one game where he kept forcing it. I can't remember who that was against. It might have been week 2.
That wasn't against the Falcons, was it? Was it the Falcons game?
Was it the Falcons game or
that was
Tampa?
Week 2? No, it was probably Tampa's game. But
week 4, I think it was.
Week 4, yeah.
So, but since then, like he's been stellar.
He has been great. He's been really good. And the thing is, too, and this is what you have to like about. I know we get a little annoyed because he doesn't show any emotion. But when that game got to 22-16, he was as cool as a cucumber.
Yeah,
it's
no
like
panic.
The stadium was panicked, and they had every right to be panicked. Okay,
yeah.
But he comes out and with the next drive, and throws it to Devonte Smith for a touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just
ice in his veins,
lizard-like. Like he's got no pulse. It's like he's cool.
Yeah.
No matter how hot it gets, you touch him and he's cool.
Sometimes you're right. That demeanor makes me think he's not competing.
Oh, yeah, that's not the case though.
It's not. It too. But sometimes, we tend to laud guys that are like spilling themselves all over the place. The guys that are like super smooth and just calm under pressure, like Mike Schmidt was a great example of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
People thought he was being aloof and that he wasn't that much of a competitor because he was so smooth and so talented. That's not the case.
Yeah.
He just was ungodly smooth.
Actually, he hasn't thrown an interception since the New Orleans game.
Okay, so that's week 3.
He was clean against Tampa Bay. That was when he was down all his receivers.
Yeah.
But he's had 3, 4, 5, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions since then. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, really good numbers. And I thought he was, again, like to your point, I thought his leadership on the field and the way he carries himself. If the quarterback panics, I think everybody panics.
Everybody
it's like the captain of the ship.
Absolutely.
And if he doesn't panic, I think everybody stays calm. Scrapple JoJo goes, the triple Lindy. That's the only nickname I can think of for that Saquon run.
Wasn't that from the Rodney Dangerfield movie?
Back to School.
Back to School. It was a dive, though, right?
Yeah, it was the triple Lindy that he used to do. And he was always trying to hook up with the teacher, the professor.
Right. The blonde.
And, he goes,
was it Kellerman? Was her last name Kellerman?
May have been. And she
Sally Kellerman or something like that?
He goes to her and goes, how about we go out for dinner tonight? And she goes, I can't, I have class. He goes, how about tomorrow for lunch? And she goes, I have class. He goes, well, then call me when you have no class. One of the great lines ever.
I think that was Sally Kellerman.
Wow.
I want to say.
That's a good ball.
Yes,
right?
I think it was. Yes.
Call me when you have no class. Yeah. All right, let's take a time before we have to go to class. We'll take a time out. We'll come back with game balls, and we'll look and kind of assess where this team is. 6 wins in 8 games. That's the fact of the matter right now. I'm going to tell you about FanDuel right after this. All right, FanDuel, great time of year to get in on the action. I tell you what, if you're doing daily, you better have Saquon or Derrick Henry. Not two good guys to have. Or you just want to get in on the action, well, keep it going with FanDuel and the big return. It's America's #1 sportsbook. If you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you see Saquon's got the legs, well, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and much more on the same page where you place your bets. That way you don't miss any of the action. And you're going to get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, and when you place your first $5 bet. Now, if you think a team's got momentum in the game, this is where you can really capitalize. If you got a nose for that kind of thing, you think they're going to score? You can live bet it as you watch. FanDuel has made it super easy, and you don't miss any of the action. And with FanDuel, it's not just straight bets and parlays. Nah, that's lame. That's old school. Visit FanDuel.com, and you can see all the odds and opportunities to get in on the action while you watch the action. It doesn't get better than that. That's FanDuel.com. Visit FanDuel.com, and you'll get started with the $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So check it out today at FanDuel.com. All right, Harry. Fact of the matter. Did you have any, first of all, tickles in your loins about Doug P. returning, the guy who delivered the first Super Bowl to the Philadelphia Eagles?
No, I'm over that. He's been here before with the Jacksonville Jaguars, so I'm over that. He had
the visor on, though, Harry.
He did, and I'll tell you, it's funny. I know you had the Stu Nod meter years and years ago, but he had a look on that game before they got the Saquon fumble and the drive before that, where they scored on a good drive where they actually looked like an NFL football team. He looked like a man with no answers.
No.
Like it just lost.
Blank stare.
Yeah, exactly. And that's never good.
He looked like Andy Reid in some of the bad times looking at the old Denny's menu, the laminated Denny's menu.
Yeah, like the answer's in here somewhere. I know it is.
Is it the moon's over Miami?
Miami.
What's the breakfast here?
Oh, that's awesome.
The 2 a.m. moons over Miami.
Oh, I was at a great diner the other day, Saturday.
Oh, yeah?
Manella's.
Where's that at?
Right there in Wayne.
Oh, okay.
Right on route there. Oh, terrific.
Oh, wait, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
that's a famous joint.
Yeah, terrific.
Yeah, I love a good diner.
Yeah, it was Sally Kellerman in Back to School.
Okay.
Yeah, 1986 that was.
It was a great movie. I love that movie.
Terrific.
Robert Downey Jr. in that film, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Yeah, Jim Haslett checking in says Rodney was the best. Yeah, the actor, this guy says it too, played his son, was in Christine, Stephen King-based movie about the car. That was Jason was the character's name in that.
Okay.
That was his kid, Jason.
Yeah,
Call me when you have no class.
You know who else was in that movie? Burt Young.
Oh, one of the greats, Paulie.
Yes.
He was in a famous episode of The Sopranos called Another Toothpick.
Oh, that's right, he was.
You know why what was called Another Toothpick, Hack?
No, remind me.
Because when somebody has cancer, they get so skinny and they die. Another toothpick.
Another toothpick.
Yeah, that's what Janice said. Another toothpick. But we digress. All right, here's the fact of the matter, Harry. 6 wins in 8 games. Washington went on and won yet again today over the Giants. And this is all kind of targeting right to the game in a couple of weeks. Dallas before we get there, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with an injured Dak Prescott and a team that just can't run the football and can't stop the run of the Dallas Cowboys. So you're going to face Saquon Barkley, and you got a defense that can't stop the run. You are in big trouble.
Yeah.
It's a division game. It could get crazy. Who knows? This Eagles team finds ways to keep teams in games that shouldn't be, as evidenced by today. So who knows? But you're 6-2. You got the win. It was far from perfect. But if you're going to give game balls, I'm giving the defensive game ball to the guy who saved the coach's job, Nakobe Dean, with that interception.
It's a huge play. I'm going to give it to my guy. Then I give it to, again, the hairless one, Zach Bond.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had a great interception.
Too. He had an interception, too, off the tip ball. Yeah.
I thought at one point that he may have knocked Trevor Lawrence out of the game when he stepped up and had that hit. There was a little helmet-to-helmet contact, and Lawrence looked a little ubats on the sidelines for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But he obviously ended up coming back.
And that led to the Saquon Barkley running it in from the 20-yard line, I believe, untouched into the end zone for a touchdown that would have put him up, 17-0.
Well,
right?
it ended up being 16, though, right?
Yeah, right. Offsides on Jacksonville, so the coach goes for 2.
Yep.
They don't get it.
They pulled the point off the board that time, and then they don't get it, and here we go again.
He's a genius.
Can you explain to me, the game today was on CBS. I get that. They played an AFC team. That happens sometimes. And they were taken out.
Next week's is on CBS, too.
Why? It's 2 NFC teams.
Well, ever since they've had this last collective or bargaining where the TV deal, they flip some games. Like Fox takes games that are typically like AFC teams. They get 1 or 2. They flip certain games. There's no rhyme or reason to it for us,
So we'll get Nance and Romo next week.
Most likely, yeah. I would think so.
So that'll be Nance and Romo next. So we don't have to deal with these D-list crews anymore, because the week after that, Washington's on Thursday night.
That's a Thursday night. It's Al Michaels. That's your boy Al Michaels and Herb Street. Yeah.
Should maybe we'll get Al on the program. Do a little postcast check-in.
I would love that.
Uncle Big Al reporting for duty.
Oh, I'd love that.
He's the best. I still have his email, so I'll have to hit him up.
Oh, yeah, he used to come on with Mikey Miss quite often,
He was the official play-by-play announcer of the Mikey Miss show.
Oh, he was?
Thanks to my relationship with him.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Well, so there we go.
Yeah. That's how
of course,
that goes.
Called one of the greatest sports moments of all time with the Miracle on Ice.
Yeah.
That's why he and I have a kinship. But, yeah, Eagles win. 6 wins in 8 games next week. It's Dallas week. Oh, all the sports radio people.
Here we go.
It's Dallas.
Oh.
Cowboy Dave, the whole thing. They're the Rats.
Yeah.
Geez, I can't.
I know.
I'm just going to keep it on the Locked On Network all week.
It never gets old, but it does.
Oh, yeah, from the minute it started. Thanks for everybody for making Locked On Eagles Postcast your first listen today. And for your second listen all week, go find the new Locked On NFL with 2 shows every day. First, the Madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. And then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'll be back next week. We'll break down Eagles Cowboys. So everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hit a like and subscribe while you're at it. Ring the bell. That way you'll get notified every time we do a show as well. So everybody, thanks. We'll talk to you next week on the Locked On Eagles Postcast.